Hello and a happy Monday to you from Kampala in Uganda. My name is Becky and I have just a few more thoughts from the Bible to share with you today. So thank you for tuning in to watch. The book of Joshua in the Bible, it starts out in a really exciting way. Lots of battles, lots of God stepping into the picture and bringing his people into the land that he had promised to give them. After a while, though, it becomes a little bit less thrilling to read as it starts talking in great detail about how the land would be divided between the different tribes of Israel. Well, as I picked it up to read a few days ago, I asked God to show me something amidst the lists of cities and areas that don't really mean all that much to me, not knowing that part of the world very well. And so I started reading, skimming a little bit, if I'm honest. But then one section really jumped out at me. The tribes representing the descendants of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, they were a little bit unhappy about the land they'd been allotted. They started to complain to Joshua, hey, we're pretty successful people here. God has blessed us greatly, and we need more space than you have given to us. Well, Joshua, he responds by telling these tribes to go and clear out some additional land for themselves. Well, this is their response to him in Joshua chapter 17, verse 16. The descendants of Joseph responded, "It's true that the hill country is not large enough for us, but the Canaanites in the lowlands have iron chariots, both those in Beth Shan and its surrounding settlements, and those in the valley of Jezreel. They are too strong for us." But it's such a little word, but it can convey so much meaning. The descendants of Joseph had literally just been proclaiming how good God had been to them. And yet when they faced a situation that seemed a little bit too hard for them, their reaction was, "But that's too hard. But we can't do that. But that's impossible, God." I think that there are two different kind of buts that can dominate our thinking. Don't laugh. We can be like these Israelites. We can look at a situation and say, "Do you know what, that outcome would be great, but it's going to be a whole lot of work to get there, but I'm not even sure it's worth it. But I don't think I'm even able to achieve that result." Alternatively, we can look at a situation and we can say, "Yes, I appreciate that's going to be really hard to achieve, but God is greater than anything I can ever face. But God will always do what he has promised. But God has promised to be with me every day of my life, whatever I might face." The ancestor of these tribes, Joseph, he lived a pretty rough life for a few years. He was sold by his own brothers into slavery with no hope of rescue. He was even after living as a slave for a while, he was falsely accused of a crime, and he ended up thrown into an even worse position in jail in the land of Egypt, a land so foreign to the one that he had known, a land that was far away from all of the people that he had ever known and loved. Joseph could justifiably have wanted revenge on those brothers of his who had contemplated killing him, who had thrown him into a pit, who had sold him and didn't even care what happened to him. Instead, this is what Joseph said to his brothers after they were reunited years down the line. It's in Genesis chapter 50 and verse 20. Joseph said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Now, Joseph could so easily have said, "You intended to harm me." And, yes, things might have worked out okay in the end, but it's time for you to get your just desserts now. It's time for me to get my revenge. Instead, he said, "But God." He recognized God's hand on his life, even through his darkest days. I wonder, can you look at your situation today and adjust your attitude to include that kind of but? Yes, it sucks that the world is in lockdown right now, but I'm excited to see what God is going to do in me in this situation. Yes, I need to move into something new and scary, but I trust that God is going before me to make straight the path for my life. Anytime you find yourself feeling frustrated or anxious or angry, you have the option to apply this sentence to your situation, but God. You can make it applicable to what you are going through right now. But God is working. But God is in control. But God is still good. But God is still deserving of my praise and my worship. I encourage you to think about this today. Think if you are responding like those Israelite tribes and looking at your situation and saying, "But this is too hard. But this is impossible." Or are you responding like Joseph and saying, "But God is greater. But God is over and above these situations. But God is more powerful than the things that I face. But God is able to bring a resolution, to bring me into the place that he wants me to be." I encourage you to speak the latter over your life this week. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you can always subscribe to this channel just by clicking the button below, and it will let you know when any new videos come out. But I'll be here every Monday, Wednesday and Friday with new thoughts from the Bible. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.